Okay, awesome. I meant to record to the cloud, but oh well. We're going to record to my computer and hope it doesn't die on me because it's kind of on its last leg. Welcome, guys. I'm excited to chat with you. Great job being here. And I will try to keep an eye on those coming in. Okay, so I want to chat with you guys about influencing promotions. As we all know, it is up to a consultant to get themselves to the finish line and to earn their step into UBAM leadership. We all know that that's a fact, but it's really important to acknowledge the level of influence that we have over the process. And I've experienced doing a really great job myself on influencing promotions, and I've experienced doing a really poor job of influencing the process over the years and have seen the varying results. So I want to talk about this. Let me add a few more people in here. Okay, so I want to talk about this in three specific areas, but really to me, it's all about being proactive with the process as opposed to being reactive to the process. And I think these three different areas and being really mindful of it and intentional with it can really help us to just go into it and stay proactive through the process. Okay, so the first area of influence is a word we've all heard before, and I have spoken about it many times, and that is belief. Belief is a free gift and one of the most powerful gifts that you can give to anyone on your team. If they can hear belief in you, that can change, that gives them confidence to be able to actually go after what they want. So, whenever you're talking about just initial vision casting with your belief, the belief factor in the initial vision casting with consultants, two things. And you have to check yourself on these things. Like, you can be really solid and 100% there sometimes in your business and sometimes not. So it's not like you have belief in promoting within UBAM, so you're just going to feel that way forever. Sometimes you can sway in your belief, so you just have to be intentional and aware of what are your personal feelings about just the opportunity to promote. Like, how are you feeling? And right now is a really good time to do that because things are a little wild this year, very wild. And they're not showing any signs of being any different than the rest of 2020. That's an outside factor. Like, it still remains that we have, and stronger than ever, I would say, because demand is so high within our company, that it does make it a bit easier for people. More and more people continue to look for different types of employment and to work from home or to have something just really feel positive and fulfilling for them. So there's actually more reasons than ever why we should believe in the process and now. But really check yourself on that. And also equal opportunity. It is not our responsibility or our right to look at a consultant and decide for them if they want a promotion and if they can do it. That has to be up to them, and we have to be aware of what we're feeling about that. Like, are we filtering? Are we just looking at people and having that initial vision casting conversation with people that have already done rock star things or have already recruited? Because sometimes it just takes having a reason to do those things to start doing those things. So belief starts right out the gate and highly influences the number of people who actually say yes to wanting to set the goal. And you have complete control over those influences. And then it's a matter of the influence of belief to the finish line. And that is something that, like, you're going to be tested. We've all most of us have been there. It doesn't matter what goal you're talking about, it's never a straight line. The initial plan doesn't always work and things will waver. And when we have complete belief that they can take the action that is needed to make things happen, like, does that mean that, oh, they are going to do it? No, it means they can do it. I believe they can do it. It's not my right to determine whether or not they are willing and able to dig deep and make it happen, because the actions that it takes to promote, any single person in the whole world can do it. Anyone. We've heard countless stories about people who are like promoting and they delivered a baby early and still wrapped up their promotion, or were caught up literally like in severe natural disaster, and just so many things. It's already been proven that literally anybody can. We're not talking about skills that are for a select few. Anyone can do it. It just takes that digging deep. So be aware of your own belief and how often you're communicating that. Their belief in themselves, it's going to waver constantly. And if they hear from you every single time that you talk to them, every time that you're connecting and communicating, if they can hear and feel that belief, sometimes that single factor is the deciding factor on whether or not they reach that finish line. Because sometimes it's that factor that inspires them enough to do the action that's hard to be able to get there. So don't underestimate the power of that, but not just initially, throughout the entire process. You literally cannot give the gift of belief too often to somebody. So kind of along those lines, we talk a lot about being interested versus committed. And I think belief goes with that. So I have found that when I'm personally interested versus committed, when I'm interested in the process of someone promoting who's also interested in it, they don't promote. Like, it's not going to happen. If I'm interested in the process of someone who is committed to it, they're going to have a hard time promoting. It's possible a big error could be made, or it takes them an extra month or an extra few months, because I wasn't on top of the process as much as I would have been had I been committed to it alongside them. And for those that, when I'm committed to the process that with someone who's interested, I've seen their interested turn to committed. But that's not possible if I wasn't also committed to the process. And when I'm committed to the process and they are committed to the process, it happens. It happens almost always on the date that they want. Sometimes it's the month later. But I definitely have found that my own commitment level, and I have been in the interested category many, many, many times. I'm not claiming to always be like, oh, I know that this is a fact, so I'm always in committed. No, but it's about ownership. Like, okay, these are the results that happened. What can I own here? Because you can control that. You can control everything that you're willing to own, and you can change it. Okay. What does that note mean? Okay. I wrote down your influence on their commitment. Taking the time. Oh, just start. Oh, okay. So in that initial process of helping them to commit, choose to take the time to sometimes we want to jump into planning mode and like, okay, this is what you need. Okay, fill up your calendar, all that. The most important first step is to take the time face to face if you can and hear them, have them talk and share. what does this mean to you? Like when you like, why are you saying yes to wanting to set this goal? What, like, okay, it happens. What, tell me about how you're feeling. What does that mean? And they're going to share something personal. And it is so important for us to be a part of that initial process because that helps our own commitment. I know when I hear a personal reason why somebody wants to promote, that really helps to solidify my own commitment because I feel ownership in leading them to that. Okay. Second way to influence promotions is through action, accountability, and guidance. And again, we cannot make someone take action, but we can provide accountability and guidance for the actions that they are taking. So we do this by consistent, like daily check-ins, almost daily, 5 times a week, because we want to help to just keep them on track, and just a quick check-in is going to help do that. But making sure that we're asking very specific questions, like, and I have found, like, when I'm doing that consistently, I'm kind of like fully in the game with them. I know what's going on with them. We don't have to like play catch up. It's whenever I get off track and I go 5 days without checking in that I don't feel on top of it. And we have to kind of backpedal a little bit. I have to find out where they are, make up for some missteps that happened, or help pick them up because, that's was just too long to not hear from me. So just being committed to that daily, at least 5 times a week check-in, and specifically finding out, like, okay, great. So what, having them acknowledge what they need to do next and giving direct guidance in response to that. Everyone here, like, you've already promoted to team leader, you know what it takes. And it's really not that much different than the elements of most goals in this business, right? They're all kind of the same factors. You got to set yourself up for success with a busy calendar and share the business. I mean, it's all kind of the same. But we also have the perspective of having gone through the process of promotion, which they don't have. And so they're going to take action in a way that makes sense to them. So we have to be willing to give very direct response and guidance as needed. If they are getting off track and what they're doing isn't the best focus of their time. Like, so often when someone's working on promotion, they'll bring up becoming an ESR. I really want to, this week, I really want to get this done. I really want to get ESR done. And I do always ask them, like, okay, tell me about the reasoning. Like, why are you feeling that way? Like, why are you feeling you want to do that right now? And often they'll respond, be like, and see, oh, maybe I should wait, rarely, but sometimes they actually have a strong lead in place that could help their promotion. That would make sense for them to do ESR before they promote, but almost never happens. It's very rare. So that's a big one. And just like different other things, just being willing to be honest and direct, like, that is leadership. That's what they need from us. Okay, so the third way that we control influencing the process is through proactive creative brainstorming. Sometimes people are working so hard on getting parties booked and whatnot, and you can feel that they're pretty, like, they have been taking the action and they're feeling kind of down in the dumps because they're not getting the results that they want. Sometimes they just need a shift of focus. And so if we're in constant contact, we can pick up on that and we can be creative with them and think, okay, you know what? Let's take a pause on that for a second and let's have you, like, do something a little different that's going to, like, you're going to really enjoy, that can also help you with this. Maybe it would be like setting up a book drive. Maybe it would be setting up a Cards for a Cause. Maybe, in normal times, but in some parts of the country, you can look for some sort of booth. Maybe it's like, hey, do you have any connections with a preschool that maybe you can set up a virtual book fair for them? Um, I know every time I'm brainstorming with a promotion bound, I always want to ask as many questions as I can because people usually have leads or opportunity and we just don't know it. Like they have connections to something or someone. And when you just start that brainstorming process, if you are asking enough questions, it'll come out. And you just need to be there to be able to say, oh my gosh, that's perfect. Why don't you contact them and here's how, and offer this to them. So don't be afraid to, help them to just shift their focus a little bit. And we all know that the power of leading creative brainstorming, how that so often helps them get to the finish line and involving their team members and whatnot. But the other part of that is just your own personal experience with that. The more constant you are with setting goals for your business every single month and doing what it takes to reach that goal, which is why I love, the standard goal of hitting at least HOC2, but I highly recommend increasing that recruiting number. Highly. You want to change your business, change it to number 5. Change it to 5 recruits every month. It will change everything. But by us having our own constant goals that we have to reach, sometimes life is going to throw us a curveball and we have to get creative to reach those goals ourselves. You're going to be able to speak way more successfully to a consultant who needs to get creative if you're doing that yourself, or if you just experienced that yourself. Your belief is going to be stronger that they can do that, and you're just going to have more ideas because you've done it as well. So don't underestimate your own experience and how much that influences the whole process as well. All right. That's kind of short and sweet today. Well, hopefully sweet, kind of short. But just wanted to share just 3 kind of main ideas or main areas that I feel like over the years, when I am most proactive and intentional with my influence in those areas, the more success I see with people hitting that finish line. So any questions or other thoughts on any of those things, or even something different that you thought of?
Tabitha, I have a question for you.
Sure.
You were talking about how when you're checking in with the recruits who are planning on promoting, you're asking really specific questions. I kind of feel like that's where I get hung up, because I'm like, oh, how's it going? Or I'll ask us a specific question, and then the next day I'm like, I can't ask the same questions. What types of questions? Can you give us some examples?
Let me try. I'm so bad at examples on the spot. Well, you know what? It's even take the time to look at um, the whole kind of process and what it should look like. Like, what are the basics? We know that if someone's promoting, a great way for them to do that is to focus on having 2 parties every week and recruiting 1 person every week or 2. I mean, every week is optimal for sure. So knowing that, there is something different to talk about every week, right? Because if they're like a party machine and they have 2 or more parties every week, make sure that do you totally know, what are they averaging in terms of attendance? What are they averaging in terms of sales? How are their sales looking? Is it matching how many parties they're doing? If not, if that's on the low end, even under 300 after, a few parties, then that's definitely something to dig into a little bit. If they don't have the parties on their calendar, helping them to focus on right then and there, and if it's a bit too late for that week, then it's, okay, what night can you party next week? Okay, great. What times can you party? And just kind of brainstorm through and help them with the next steps that they need to do. So that requires like, it's kind of, you're, for some people will feel a little bossy with it, but that's what people need. You know, they want a clear, direct path. Everybody wants a clear, direct path, and you can give that to them. But it requires us to know the process, know what it takes to promote, and be willing to say it. Like, great, I know you can do this. So you need some party momentum. Like, let's say they don't have parties that week and they have one party next week. Okay, you need some party momentum. How about let's get you booked for double booked for 2 party nights next week. And I'll brainstorm through who you can ask. First, tell me what, like, do you have 2 nights? What 2 nights do you have available? And then go through the process of making that happen. People they're going to ask, wording they're going to use, and then, you know, you do something like that, then you're following up on their actions that they took. I don't know if that was helpful. Other questions or, oh, you know what? One thing I didn't talk about, I realized when Nicole asked this question, which is really important. It's probably number 4, and that is helping her team members to launch and to get active. Like, I mean, we're the ones who are experienced in that, not them. And sometimes it can be easy, especially if they have a really strong relationship. If that's the case, you know, and you kind of need to go through her to get to the new recruit, that's fine. I have definitely found a lot more success with reaching out to new consultants via Project Broadcast and texting them and getting a response back, as opposed to, like, sometimes a 3-way message works on Facebook, and I always want that because I want that promotion bound consultant involved in the conversation. But a conversation between just me and the newbie is better than no conversation. I don't know if maybe some new recruit, I don't know if you guys have experienced that sometimes they stay a little quiet in that 3-way. If that's the case, go to Project Broadcast and text them, and you might get a response that way. And sometimes maybe they're friends with them and they feel like they want that separated. I don't know. But we can definitely highly influence that. We just need them to bring the people on and help them to get a launch night and hopefully more.
Hey Tabitha, do you have like a formula like of when you run the launch parties for them and when you don't? Because that is where I am getting so stuck, because I feel like I'm just running my wheels, because sometimes I'm doing their launch and sometimes I'm not. And I'm like, I need a formula. And I know maybe there's not one because everyone's different, but just kind of seeing what you do for that.
Everyone's different. My formula is I don't do them. Yeah, I just don't have time, and it's a choice of time. Everyone has time for anything. It's my choice though of time, and I also, like, they have to learn, and I feel like, you know, I launch them all. I have them all launch on Squee unless they totally refuse. I can't, but that almost never happens. And I find it to be pretty easy because I literally give them the code and give them the chat script and give them the RSVP code. So it's really plug and play. There have been some random rare times, like if I have a host who joins, you know, like 2 days before her party, I'll probably still run it, except have her set it up unless we already set it up under mine. That's like almost the only time. So if it's not working for you, don't feel like you have to run them for that to be successful, because you don't. You probably just need to land on maybe some tweaking of helping them to launch independently.
Okay. Thank you. I like that. Thanks so much.
Sure. I've noticed your central group has been recruiting a lot, Jordan, so I can understand that question.
It is
Great job.
really busy, and you always hear like you got to keep your own business going, so it's like trying to get my own girls going, and then you have a few lines down, and I'm not experienced this yet, so I'm like trying like just to keep all the balls, and it's tough, but I'm like just checking in like you said daily and kind of seeing what everyone needs. But I haven't really been running the parties for them like you said. If they're joining the day of course I'm going to run it, but for the most part I've kind of like you said, like they're going to have to learn.
Mhm.
So I've been kind of trying to get them to do their own, but I've noticed some of them aren't launching as well as the ones that I run for them. So it's like, that's on me too, though, because I'm not host coaching them probably like I should be. So working on it, definitely working on it.
Getting different growth levels, it makes us, it tests our systems that we currently have and our current strategies, and it'll let you know when there's a shift that needs to happen. You'll feel that discomfort. That's just a signal. Discomfort is actually a really good thing. It's letting you know, oh, it doesn't mean quit. It just means, oh, something is off here. Just make a change there. Whether it's like shift the focus or change your system or change your strategy. But it happens every time you get to a higher growth level. Very normal.
Jordan, I feel like I'm you, but like in the beginning stages. Like I'm not, like it's starting. And like this Wednesday I had a party already, and then someone downline recruited, and then that's my party night. So I was like, well, let's do your launch Wednesday. But I'm a little nervous about it because I've never done that before, and I'm just starting to get used to the idea that I will double book at all. But I don't know if Tabitha or anyone or Jordan, has any advice on, I'm sure you guys double book already. And was it smart of me to like launch somebody on the same night I'm doing a party?
I mean, I'm a big fan of double booking, and I think once you find your way with it, everyone's a bit different. I don't know how Facebook partiers do it, so I can't speak to that at all. But even within Squee, people are different. I know some people really love running 2 or 3 parties at the exact same time, and they're very successful with that. I can't do that. It makes me kind of crazy, and I don't feel very good at it. So I love having an hour and a half between the parties. If I had to choose between either like a half hour apart or at the same time, I would do the same time. I think overall everyone agrees a half hour apart is awful, because you're running 2 different parties at very different places, and at the same time is easier for everybody. But you can get really strategic with your timing with different time zones. Like, I'm fully aware of the time zones I have available on my party nights. And I will, like, if I know someone's East Coast, and like my next party night already has an East Coast, but the next party night has a West Coast, I'll offer them the West Coast night. And so just kind of being strategic with that. But I think, and if you're in the same time zone, you can do 8 o'clock and 9 o'clock and it works fine. It's a little rushed in that moment, but as long as you're especially using Project Broadcast, so you can schedule those, any final texts, that's super helpful. I don't know if someone has something to add to that. Brittany Lewis is on Facebook partying, and she does 4 parties in her party night and launch on the same night.
Thanks, Tabitha and everyone, for your input. I'll just try and have all my ducks in a row. The one girl, she said it.
Oh, we lost you for a second.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah, the one girl, she's launching, I'm setting her up hopefully she's going to launch her own party. So I'm supposed to be there, and then I'm going to run like a party for my business. So I think maybe if I just have everything, my systems, like you said, in order, it could be fine.
Yep, you'll be great.
Thanks.
Sure. Other questions or anything to add to the topic? Everyone ready to conquer the last, how many days is there in September? 30? The last 9.5 days of the month. This month went real fast. I mean, everything can happen. We can still book up a whole bunch of parties for September and do anything. So believe those facts and take it and go share that belief with all of your Central Group team members, and help them to stay committed to their goals, especially if it's a promotion goal. Because, hello, who doesn't want that override on October sales? And then, of course, November. And it'll continue being a crazy 2020. And just on a little side note, my 3-year-old is in love. He has found the love of Complete Book of Farmyard Tales, and he just loves picking out all the different stories, and it's such a great memory maker. If you've experienced that book with a child, I had with my daughter, who I just moved into college last night. That was like her favorite book when she was 3. And we have such incredible memories with it. And I realized the other night while I was reading to him, I'm like, everyone doesn't have the libraries that we have. They don't have, like us book ladies, like we have these incredible, such a gift of the home library that we gain through this business. And most people don't have that. And it just got me really excited to just pour in, no matter what the rest of this year holds in the world, pour into my business and reach families and reach children, to just give them more of those memory maker moments and give them more knowledge to help them to be critical thinkers and to be independent people, who can continue to help make the world a better place. So we are a direct impact on all of that, on people's just current state of mind and their just the memories that are created in their home, and the children, like the people that they grow into. We literally are a direct impact on that. So we're doing great things, and let's just reach as many kids and as many families as we possibly can, and help as many people as possible to join the company so they can have these incredible home libraries too. All right, guys, have a great rest of your day. Have an amazing week. Already excited to talk with you next month, but I'm sure I'll talk to some of you before then. Bye, guys. Thanks for being here.